I call the shots, I never call it quits. Trust my intuition, bet it's right and bitch, it often is. Seen too many others come and go, they had the wrong intent. Do it out of love and never for it, then I watch it get bigger than expected. No second guess it, I let it set in. It's God's plan, we out here only accepting blessings. I'm stuck with it, this mindset is terminal. In and out different terminals, leveling up is personal. And I already made it, y'all can miss me. It's hard to believe I made something from nothing. No hindsight discussions, I've been writing, I love it.
Welcome to the 3 Gig Sports Podcast, where we are never wrong, just sometimes misinformed. This is Danny G sitting alongside Rio and Jimmer today, who is showing off the Sir Winston Peach. Shout out to S&B Farms. They know how to make some whiskey, and that peach is fire.
So delicious.
So good. Jimmer's kicking it off with a shot of that peach.
Oh, you can't. Oh, so good. That's dangerous.
You should have done the other peach, though.
I could not. Yeah, no.
You should have.
Should have. We did.
Could not wait for golfing season and not remembering golfing season.
Yes. Well, you won't want to remember your score. That's for damn sure.
That's the reason why we get there. You get there, you start shooting.
Then you start drinking.
It starts going downhill. You forget the score. It never happened, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Shot a 35 the whole day.
Yeah, there you go. Things are looking great. Well, as we get things going today, we've got some news, some different things going on all across the sports world, really. And we've got some interesting conversations. We're going to talk about overtime rules. We've got Rios Randoms. So let's kick her off, Jimmer. Give us some news and notes, brother.
All right. For us home base fans, the Vikings have officially selected their new GM, and that is Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, the Browns' vice president of football operations. He signed with the Vikings on a 4-year, $12 million deal.
12 mil.
Now, this is also in light of, he was one of the 2 finalists anyway. The other finalist was Ryan Poles, who finalized his deal with the Bears to become their next GM. So, kind of process of elimination is with this one. Now, what you may not know about this guy versus Poles, for instance, Poles was a player scout and worked his way up. So, kind of like an old school mentality, right? Seeing the player, now this is what I can see coming down the line. Mensah is more of a numbers guy. So I don't know.
You probably like him because you said he comes from the Browns, right? And I thought he did a good job trying to acquire and put talent on the Browns roster,
except for quarterback.
Right, but they thought they had the guy, with the number 1 pick. But otherwise, bringing in people and Odell Beckham and whatnot. Jarvis Landry. So he was trying.
Yeah.
It just never it's the Browns,
Yeah.
Things don't mesh well. So a good hire.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. Moneyball, right?
Yeah.
Like he started in Wall Street. He's a numbers guy, super analytical, super, what fits, what doesn't, what's going to give, us our best chance of success, that type of thing. It's unique in the NFL still, even though a lot of people kind of try to follow those analytics, but I like it. I think the thing I like the most is I didn't want to get Dan Quinn, and I think Quinn was a Poles guy.
Yeah.
So that pretty much takes him off our list.
Yeah.
And I like that. But yeah, I'm pumped, man.
The only thing I like the thought. I like the I think I like the guy. I believe I do. We'll see how it goes. I was still shocked. Even to this day, I'm still shocked that Spielman isn't there. Because I thought Spielman did a pretty damn good job. And he was pretty damn good about piling up picks. But either way, I like this guy. The one thing I was shocked by is that we were holding all of those head coaching interviews without having a GM at that point. So now that GM is playing catch up, it's almost like you're whittling it down before he gets there, and then you get to choose from what we pick. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
In a way.
Yeah.
And I'm with you on the Dan Quinn part, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. I don't think that I saw enough with the Falcons.
Yep.
So that was enough for me. I don't need to. There was nothing that special, and the more that it was brought to my attention, and I didn't think about it like that, I really didn't, is you will not have, on a consistent basis, you should not be counting on a corner having 11 interceptions. That's what also makes your defense look better than what it may have actually been. Now, you attacked. You had a great rookie. He'll be the rookie defensive player of the year. He was in the serious conversation there for quite a while for the defensive player of the year. But at the end of the day, they played up. They absolutely did. I just don't. I saw enough with him and the Falcons. I didn't need any of that in my life. So if that's the case, and
I hope he's your head coach.
I don't want either one of your guys. I think they're both overhyped. I really do.
Yeah.
I would be okay.
I think Dan Quinn will be just fine. Kellen Moore, I don't think is ready yet.
I don't think so. But Kellen Moore, like we've said many times, I want to be if like Kirk Ferentz retired and they wanted to start over with a whole new regime, and they brought in Kellen Moore, that wouldn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad about that.
No, that wouldn't bug you, would it, Danny? I mean, then it would get some younger, maybe more high-profile offensive pieces that'd be excited to work in that, right? So I'd be okay with that, but I really don't believe he was also part of the fall in certain aspects of the season too, like when they would misfire and shit too. Let's not just
big time
throw it out.
Yeah.
He made that play call. That wasn't Mike McCarthy that made that play call to run. I wouldn't have ran. The first thing I thought of is like, what the hell are you doing? Like that. I mean, yes, mathematically it could have been done if he would have came up was it maybe 3 yards shorter and like slid before that. There would have been like an extra second or two. They've broken it down, but yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Jake Paul buys Endeavor stock, which is the UFC parent company, to boost his effort to increase fighter pay and provide health care. I think this is kind of funny. I'm sorry. Like, I got to chuckle at this because we talked about the back and forth on TikTok, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Dana White, I'm like, you're a billionaire. What are you doing? Like, you shouldn't be chiming in on this. You should be above this, right?
Yeah.
I find this extremely funny. Technically he's kind of your boss too.
Yeah, I mean,
all stockholders have. I mean, yes, the bigger ones, the more you would have, the more of a boss you'd be. But ultimately, I'm kind of your boss, right?
Yeah, Jake's got to keep this feud going because that's what's keeping him alive right now, So
yeah, Dana's not wrong in some of the stuff he was saying. That isn't what I'm saying. But like, it should be below you to.
Oh, agreed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's all publicity,
It's all it's reaching out for that money, and maybe finally Triller's kind of going, hey, we don't got the money to fork out anymore, and he's like, I've got to branch out, somewhere else, and so you go after a UFC who has that kind of money, and keeps getting that kind of money.
He needs to find himself a legit, sir, if you want to do this, if we're talking like real, not just the comical side. You need to start finding some real boxers that you're going to tag up and actually start selling pay-per-views, because anyone that's buying it is buying it pure out of spite only. They're buying it because they just want to see you lose because your mouth. Well, after so long, people just get tired of even doing that, right? If you want to consider yourself legit, then actually start taking on legit boxers, right? In my opinion, at least.
Yeah, or get somebody that's more famous, because Woodley, I think that got old,
Yeah.
And he's out of the spotlight. That's not going to make you a bunch of money. You got to find somebody
he was fighting guys
Connor
that were sure ex-UFC fighters. There's a reason they're not on the roster and re-signed.
Right.
So, obviously, the talent, if you get somebody, and of course Dana White has to improve it, but if you get somebody that's actually signed to the UFC to fight, box, or whatever, then that's a different story. They're obviously good enough to still be on the roster and fighting.
Yep.
Bucs offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich is a finalist for the Jaguars head coaching job. But I also seen, I think that was today, it was either today or last evening. I work third shift, so they all blend together. But I also seen they're not really that close to choosing either.
It's weird.
Yeah, real weird. Do you think
there's not very many coaches flying off,
right?
Right. So is there that much uncertainty if the pool that's out there?
Maybe they're waiting for one of these other guys on that are still in the playoffs roster. I don't know. It is weird though.
It's taking way
because you think we commit right away to somebody and get rolling towards the draft right away as soon as possible.
Right.
They haven't yet.
Especially when you already have the GM like they do. Like our excuse is that we didn't have a GM yet, right? The Bears' excuse, they didn't have a GM at that point. So this one's like, you literally have the pick of the pool here. Unless you're literally waiting for one guy, like you said, waiting for a guy that is still in the playoffs.
Yep.
I think there's plenty of good candidates out there, and I'm actually getting I'm getting anxious that the Vikings haven't really pounced on a guy yet. Now, like I said, they needed a GM. I wish they would have picked the GM a little bit quicker is what I'm getting at, and start getting on that head coaching one. But the new Miami Hurricanes head coach, Mario Cristobal, has gotten rid of the Manny Diaz turnover chain.
New culture coming in, man.
New culture.
I guess.
I don't know if I like that though.
I did like it.
I liked
thought
seeing
it.
it. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
players would ball out,
It'd get him a little more hyped up on the sideline, but I guess if it turns into wins,
maybe he's just saying, it's not a big deal when we get a turnover. That's just what we should do.
could be.
I don't know.
Well, he didn't win a national championship, so are they not allowed to celebrate because that's what they should have been doing? They should have. They shouldn't have fell off last year.
They should have made the
college football playoff.
Football
that would have
playoffs,
saved
Danny.
that would have saved some whiskey for one person.
Let's
Right?
be real. When that playoff came out for the first time last year, you were both shitting your pants. You're like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Oregon is there." You didn't have any faith. They were almost there.
They were
man.
not almost there.
They
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 were
got
on
spanked
the
by.
list.
They got spanked by Utah.
Twice.
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 And he had to even
Yeah,
correct you on that.
twice.
We watched one from a Dave and Buster's. We both look up. I'm like, are you shitting me right now? That was the first one.
Yeah.
And absolutely getting demolished. Killed.
Yep.
Chris Mack is officially out as Louisville's head coach. The school announced Wednesday. The team is 11-9, but only 6-8 since his return from a 6-game unpaid suspension. Evidently, there's a little bit of a toxic environment with him whenever he's in the building. So
Yeah.
he said he's not
fresh.
bitter.
Yeah, maybe
like,
he knows he did something wrong. Or
This is a culture in which they believe in winning, and that's what they should be, and they expect wins, and I didn't do that. So he's saying all the right things.
classy way to that is for him wanting another job opportunity somewhere else.
Exactly.
Not trying to make it look like an ugly divorce and all that. Let's see. I already mentioned it. The Bears, I wrote are finalizing. I think they did finalize a deal to hire Chiefs Executive Director of Player Personnel Ryan Poles as their next GM, which I liked Ryan Poles also.
Yeah, I did too.
So either one of those two. If those were our two finalists, I was huge on that. Mm-hmm. You're making the two right decisions is what my thought process was. But big deal for the Bears.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, what's holding that roster back, they had Allen, and that's it for a wide receiver, really. Darnell Mooney, but that was a young draft pick. But as for bringing talent in, most of the stuff were their young draft picks, right? Tariq Cohen, David Montgomery. So
Darnell Mooney kind of turned himself into a little bit of a stud there.
He was,
yeah.
But at the same time, we were also looking, how do you not get your best guy the ball? Ever.
Right.
Yeah. Ever.
And
they would never scheme his guy.
And that is literally a head coaching thing. So hopefully this guy picks the right head coach.
Yep. And that's what it will come down to, getting somebody that meshes well and knows what you need to do with the ball.
And is sold on Justin Fields.
Yep.
Because you don't want to restart that one already, do you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't have to be a kind of quarterback-focused head coach, like somebody that's kind of the quarterback whisperer, something like that. I don't know.
I got one for you then.
Well, I was going to say, before you go into that,
Okay.
I was going to say it makes me happy because Dan Quinn is a Poles guy, so if they bring in Dan Quinn, I'll feel a lot better. Because I don't think they'll do much, yeah.
No, I feel all right with that.
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily need quarterback whisperers these days. The way they pass so much in college, the RPOs are. I mean, you see them everywhere, and teams that don't even have a quarterback, threat.
I agree with you,
that
but I think it truly does help a quarterback like a Justin Fields, who isn't.
Basically a young quarterback.
But I'm saying like. He's not refined in the aspect of when I watched him play last year. He's not refined in NFL play.
Yeah,
right.
Trevor Lawrence was a little more refined in NFL play. He may not need a quarterback whisperer. He just needs an offensive line and some talent around him. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my look is like when I'm looking at it. Patrick Mahomes didn't need a quarterback whisperer. Now the offensive scheme is awesome for him. Right. That does benefit. But there's certain players it seems like they do a little bit better if you kind of grow them and mature them as they go, especially baptism by fire, so to speak, with being thrown out in the field. You don't get to just sit for a year. So I think it's best for a guy like him to get a guy. And my pick if they're smart, at least for a transition period, it's Jim Caldwell.
Wonder if he'd go back to that division, to the Bears of all teams.
I think only 32 jobs in the NFL. You take any one of them, right?
Oh yeah, if you want a job, yeah.
If you want a job, you'd almost take, unless you have a pretty good shot at hitting a college coach one, then you're like, I'm not going to the Jets or Giants. Fuck that.
Yeah.
You know.
It is really weird that he's not listed as like a top pick for any of these teams. Like, this guy can win.
Yeah, I don't get what you're looking for.
And it's proven. You're not having to guess.
The guy can be average consistently.
He went 9-7 with a bad Detroit team.
Right.
Back-to-back years.
He can be average consistently.
Could he have done that with a better team other than the Detroit Lions? Like, could produce more wins?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what was on his coaching
I believe
staff,
he could have, and I would love to see that as my point.
Uh-huh.
And I think the Bears have a better roster than what the Lions had. Outside of quarterback growth, we need to find out. I mean, Stafford covered up a lot of areas. That's what a great quarterback does. He covers up a lot of low end areas on your team, shades them over. So I'm just saying, I would love to see that. Either that or I was gonna say probably Doug Peterson. This is me not hating on the Bears. This is me being like truthful. Him or Doug Peterson, but Doug Peterson also kind of shaded away from two of his quarterbacks too.
Yeah.
He shaded Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz obviously has shown that he needs a lot of love.
Yes, he
and
needs
coddling.
the pillows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then your rookie, you sat at the end when you guys had a shot to win a game, the final game of the season, and Jalen Hurts to go with Nate Shitty Sudfeld. So that's still gonna reign over your head. It wouldn't hurt my feelings to get Doug Peterson. I don't know where you're on that one.
Yeah, I like Dougie P.
I like Dougie. So I think that those two should be one of their top two picks if you want to stabilize that franchise.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State wrestling star AJ Ferrari and cross-country runner Isaiah Rodriguez were injured in a car crash. Ferrari, the NCAA champion in the 197-pound weight class, was transported by chopper to a hospital in OKC, where he was listed in fair condition. Rodriguez is a multi-NCAA All-American cross-country and was transported by chopper to a hospital in Stillwater. And was listed in fair condition with internal arm, leg, and head injuries. Ferrari attempted to pass three vehicles while cresting a hill when he hit an oncoming vehicle, then left the roadway to the left, overturned several times before stopping in a ditch.
Damn.
The driver of the other vehicle was not injured, thankfully. And the cause was listed as passing in a no-passing zone.
Yeah, if y'all saw the car, man, you don't know how anybody survived that thing.
Yeah.
The passenger, Isai, whatever his name was. Rodriguez, he actually crawled out on his own. Kind of weird, though. Oklahoma State passing coordinator was, I believe, on the scene and ended up pulling AJ Ferrari out of the car. Just happened to be passing by. Ended up pulling him out. If you don't know who AJ Ferrari is, wrestler, wrestled in high school in Texas, New Jersey a little bit. Went to Oklahoma State, won a title at 197 as a freshman.
Damn.
Yeah,
so at a grown man weight class. And, hopefully he can get back on the mat soon. There's nothing real significant. There's some internal bleeding and bruising and stuff like that, but no major life-threatening. It didn't seem like injuries, luckily.
Yeah.
A little fluid in his body and stuff like that. But sounds like he'll be okay. But, yeah, if you see the picture of the car, man, you just go, what the heck?
Like, how did anyone make it out of that one?
Yeah, I wonder if I can find it real quick. Oh, yeah, it looks horrible.
The Suns will create a confidential internal employee hotline in light of the Robert Sarver investigation.
Here's that car.
Jesus. You can see its guts, man. That's wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks like one of those like Indy cars that goes over and there's like nothing left.
Yeah.
After it rolls. Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad they got out. Damn.
For sure. So we've gotten emails at our place of employment that say it's confidential or anonymous but it has your name on it when it's sent to you. It has your name returning, and it has your company logo on it. And you also have to type in all the other information. You don't have to type in your name. That's where it makes it anonymous. So, do you believe that this is a confidential hotline? Because it's created by the Suns. The Suns have created this.
Yeah, I think it's confidential depending on what the complaint is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just be like, maybe it's like stuff you can kind of get ready for. That's what I take it for. Like before you possibly do court or anything like that.
Yep.
Little heads up. The MLB is open to pre-arbitration bonus pool for eligible players as labor talks continue. MLB is offering $10 million in the pool while the players want $105 million. So there's a vast difference there. Or $95 million difference.
There is a vast difference.
The money would be distributed to the top 30 pre-arbitration players based on WAR and awards such as MVP and Cy Young. MLB also offered to increase the starting minimum salary for first-year players from $600,000 to $615,000. But the players want a bump to $775,000.
Yeah, we talked about this the other day. They're not even close on these deals, man.
The conversation is being had, so I guess that's a positive. On this one, like I tend to go with the players. I think you've already know that. I kind of lean towards the players more than the but I understand they need each other. So I do believe the MLB is a little low on that. 15,000. I mean, they're talking about taking the pay increase up at our work to compete with some of these other ones that percentage-wise would probably be higher than that 15,000, right? I mean, we're 600,000 to 615. You'd think a little bit higher than that, right?
Right.
I'm not saying like 775. That isn't what I'm saying. I mean, that's still a huge gap. I guess my thought would have been like, oh, we'll take it up 50 grand.
Yeah.
Because it's also the wonderful cost of living that we are in right now, too.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
inflation might hit that number itself. So
right.
I'm not against that player 775. I think if you made it to that level, because we talk about
how long it takes
baseball,
to get
it takes to get. So why not be rewarded with something where you read about these guys who are on MLB rosters and having to work a job, in the off season just to make it.
Yep.
Just because the salary is so low, it's like, yes, absolutely. You're not even at $1 million.
Either that or you need to go significantly take up how much you're paying minor leaguers in.
Yeah. Or go that route.
Well, it's got to be one or the other, right?
Yep.
So I'm with you. On that. Like, actually, you just convinced me. 775 is not much for how much work you had to put in to get to that moment. It isn't basketball.
Right, and because we talk about it, these guys are trapped by these teams for 6 years, and that's 6 MLB years. So you can stay in the minor leagues for however, but until you put actual 6 years of MLB service in, so you could stay with a minor league team for 6 years
until
and
you're
get
30,
called up. And then be there for another 6 before you hit free agency.
Right.
That you could stay with this team for 12 years.
You might not get called up till you're like 25 years old, and you're there until you're 31. So literally in the middle of your prime.
Yeah.
When you could have gotten another payday at least in between there, and gotten some more money that way to take care of yourself and beyond.
Yeah,
right?
That's one, and they should push definitely. And I think I heard they were trying to is that years of service kind of crap and how long they have a control of the player. Yeah. And I absolutely think they should change that.
Maybe that's part of it then, right? So maybe there's give and take. So maybe they're lowballing at that 615 because they're willing to cut off a few years of that 6, right?
So
say you go 615 in 3 years or something like that, 4 years, whatever. I don't know if they would go down to 3, but 4 years. Maybe there's better negotiation going on at that point. I don't know, but
I think I read a little bit about that. They were thinking about, or that they're not against trimming how many years they have control of. Because there's obviously they would have an issue with it somewhere unless it benefits them somewhere. So there's got to be something where if they're able to let them go, that means maybe I can't remember. But they're on the fence about a few things. But you could tell that they are a difference apart still in quite a few.
How many games do we miss?
We miss...
I'm going to throw mine out, 40 games. We missed 40 games at least.
I want to.
60.
I was about to say the exact same. I think it'll be a 100-game season.
I think we'll go in. You'll get close to that 40 number, especially with the whole COVID crap still going on, and they want to shut down stadiums. They're going to be like, we've already been shut down. We've seen the year we opened up. Now you're trying to do it again. Let's get things rolling. At least get the players in the ballpark.
Yeah.
I'm with you, and actually I'm going to go down. I'm going to go down to like 10 to 20 games, like inside that ballpark. Maybe none at all, but they cut everything down like tremendously because of that.
Yep.
You had no revenue for the most part during COVID, except for baseball TV contracts.
Right. Man, your logic makes sense, but they're not close, man.
They're not, but
They've got a ways to go.
They do have a ways to go, and I agree. But
that's what I worry about.
I think at the end of the day, this is MLB trying to like say, yeah, we have so much blah 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 power, and I think they had to. And then when a push comes to shove, they can't eat another year like that COVID. They can't. Financially, they can't. Not as owners, they can't do that. Like, no, we get down to this. Here's what we're gonna do. Like, this is what it's gonna be.
But you battle it out right now.
But I could see the 60 though. Like, if they really are that dead arm strong on this, I could see. I think they play at least 100 games. Is what my thought process is.
Yep.
Okay.
Good. But I think when it comes down to it, I think it's going to be ultimately they'll be like, all right, we need to get going. Let's finish this gap. Let's get at least close enough to where we think that the players will agree to it. Like, even if, because what's the general thought process? If I say 700,000, you want 750,000. The general consensus is we'll go to 725, and we should be able to be happy with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where you're trying to maybe at that point MLB will be like, we'll go to 730, and that's where we're going. That's all the higher we're going. You make it that clear, and then we're done. As soon as they need revenue,
it would have to be something like that. Yeah.
Yep. They'd have to just cross that themselves. But I think they need it. I think they may need it, except for the lower players. I think they need it more than the players. The players still got paid during that low 50-game season, but there was no one in the stands for the MLB to make money off of.
Right.
So I think they got to feel something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, big news. Saints coach Sean Payton is stepping away after 16 years with the franchise. He did stress multiple times that retirement was not the correct word. Payton doesn't plan to coach another team in 2022, adding, that's not where my heart is right now. There's 3 years left on his current contract, so even if he wanted to, he'd have to be a part of a trade package.
Yeah.
Regardless. Payton didn't rule out a return to coaching in the future, and that he is interested in pursuing a TV analyst job.
Smart move. You think about like how much crazy
I hate
shit.
the Saints so much.
Yeah, you know how much crazy shit he's been through with that team over the last like 5 years.
Yeah.
Just think about all that, man. He needs a break.
Yeah.
And right now, he's not going to pull one of those good quarterbacks.
Well, 10 years. Bounty Gate, all that stuff that they went through too.
Even that, but I'm thinking back like from the year of the Minneapolis Miracle, then losing on that non-pass interference call, then losing to the Vikings in overtime, then all the shit that's happening now this season. It's just been nuts.
Yeah.
So
feeling like you're there, and maybe you're looking at Winston and you're like, dude, you're not Drew Brees. There's no chance. Our best shot of winning a Super Bowl.
Right.
Was
You don't know if
Drew Brees.
Michael Thomas even wants to play there anymore.
Yeah, there's big issues there.
And they are, by the way, salary cap hell.
Yeah.
$74 million over the cap.
Yep.
$74 million. And that's with losing Breeze and losing Breeze. That's losing Breeze's contract off there too. $74 million.
Totally, or did he still have a couple of years they had to?
No, you don't pay.
Dead
You don't
money.
pay. You
still pay dead money
on retired.
On retired if they retired before.
I don't.
The contract ends.
No, he was year by year. He was year by year.
Was he? Okay.
Yes. The last part of his few years, he was going year by year on it.
The thing I thought interesting was the timing, because his movie comes out in a couple days on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm wondering if he's about to get his aid, and then he's like, all right, I can afford to take a break for a while.
Right, and he pursues one of those
because he'll make hell of money. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you're any one of these head coaching positions that are open, and one that isn't open but is catching a lot of heat, like Cowboys.
And Jerry loves him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jerry would love him.
Would you pay what you needed to get that man as a head coach?
I would hope so.
Yeah. You obviously you have to buy out Mike McCarthy. You got to send a trade package of some kind. Sort.
Yeah.
So there's 3 years left on his contract, but I feel like after the next season he can go. So I don't think that 3 years is like a hard 3 years. I think there's something in there where he can end up somewhere else. Because they were I was listening to something earlier, and they were talking about after next season, maybe he could make a decision. And so it is. They did talk a lot about the Cowboys, so it's like maybe they make a decision if McCarthy shits the bed again.
Him in Minnesota.
Bring him in. Oh, what? McCarthy? You want McCarthy?
No.
Sean Payton? He can't go to Minnesota.
Why?
Because everybody hates him.
They wouldn't if he starts winning with them, and they have Deshaun Watson.
That's true. And they get Watson?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Now we're just daydreaming over here.
Hold on, me.
Well,
they're
paying out tons of money to that Cameron Jordan. Michael Thomas, who you don't even know. Cameron Jordan's going to have $23 million on the cap.
Yep.
Michael Thomas, $24 million on the cap.
$24 million for a guy that isn't playing.
Yeah, that is not playing.
At least Cam Jordan's worth that money. That man is the heart and soul of that defense, and he mans up, right?
Marshawn Lattimore at $27 million. That's a tough for a corner. That's a lot of money. It's really those guys that are wrapping that up. You are paying their tackle, the Ryan Ramczyk.
Ramczyk. Yep.
Yeah, $23 million, but you're going to pay that for a top tier lineman. Yeah, I don't know if that Michael Thomas. You're looking real close.
You need to find something with him. That's how you get rid of that, so you can get out of the contract.
You gotta. You
gotta start digging. Private investigators. You find something. You find something for me.
Well,
we need to get out of this.
Here's the thing: Marshawn Lattimore. If you cut pre-June 1, $40 million dead money. You cut it off.
Marshawn. Oh, I'm not talking about Marshawn.
I know. I'm just saying that's I didn't realize that's a lot of.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Man, whoever comes up in there has some work ahead of them because they're not rolling with all these same players. So this is not gonna. Maybe he sees that.
Oh,
because he's gonna lose. Because he's gonna be like, I'm not gonna have anywhere near the roster. Even if he believes they had a shot this year with Jameis Winston had he stayed healthy, right? Because that was a different team, right?
Yeah. It was.
Oh yeah.
Even if they felt like they really had a legit shot, that team is not going to be intact like that next year, and that you're not going to have anything near the town because you're top.
When do they have to pay Kamara? Have they paid him yet?
Yes, they did. They paid him right about the same time.
I didn't look, but yeah.
Well,
they paid him a little more than Cook.
So what I could foresee with him is if he does decide to come back in a couple of years, whatever the time frame is, it's going to be the perfect spot. So he's going to go in where we have a shot to win the Super Bowl, right? I'm the one that's going to get us over the hump.
He's going to be doing a Bruce Arians kind of deal.
I was going to say John Gruden.
However, they own him for 3 more years, so it's got to be a trade package.
They do legit own him.
They own him for 3 years.
So it would be after 3 years. Okay.
Well, he's got to. Now that he's stepped away, he's got to participate for those 3 years. It's not after 3 years and it runs out. You've got to give them 3 years of your time still.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just a pause button.
Yeah.
So if he wants to leave,
you don't get to pause and not do anything for 3 years and be out.
Yeah.
The 3 years timer starts when you come back.
Yeah.
So either way, it's still a buyout thing.
Yeah, it's either
still a buyout
trade or
buyout
some
trade.
Okay.
Yep.
Which if you're the Saints, you don't do.
Well, why wouldn't you? If someone doesn't want to be there,
if he makes it coach against you,
it doesn't matter. You get assets for someone that isn't helping you.
If you get the trade, yeah,
you would have.
If it's a buyout, then
no, I wouldn't buy him out. No, it'd be a trade. Obviously, I'm not going to pay you because I don't have to pay you if you're not coaching.
Right.
What I'm saying is a trade, absolutely. Any bit of asset for nothing.
Yep.
And you put it in the agreement. You're paying his salary.
Yep.
You're paying his salary, and I want this.
Yep.
Kind of something like that. Whether it's a 5th round pick, 6th round pick.
We'll give you Mike McCarthy and Michael Gallup. Let's go.
Hey, we'll send you Michael Thomas with them.
Ooh,
that's a sweet.
Oh, we hit it on the cap for that.
All that matters is this movie. That's all I'm worried about. I want to see this.
There you
go. 2 days, folks. January 28th. Netflix.
For the first time in the 116-year history of Auburn men's basketball, the program has achieved its first ever #1 ranking.
Then almost shit the bed.
Yeah, in the AP Top 25 poll that was released Monday. And then defended it barely against the lowly Missouri Tigers by beating them like 55-54.
Yeah. Good for them. That's awesome. But it's been a crazy men's basketball season. I mean, there's been
a lot of Rona stuff.
I mean, teams in and out of that number one spot. It's been crazy. It's going to be a good March Madness, I think.
I think so.
You know, even for my own team, I think we were up to 4 at one point. We dropped a couple, then we beat a team we weren't supposed to, and it's just, I mean, Gonzaga was up there at 1, and they got beat. It's been crazy. Good crazy.
Yeah, the last 5 years in college basketball, the playing field has become more and more level, and now with all the COVID stuff, it evens it out even more. So anybody can beat anybody. I was actually impressed they beat Missouri. I didn't think they were going to pull that out. That's kind of a trap game after you're number one. You know.
Yeah,
we should whoop these guys. They pulled it out though, so now they can breathe and play.
Whenever, because I heard someone saying on there that isn't, we didn't play like a number one team. I'm like, well, you did, because even number one teams have an off night.
You got to find a way to win. And you
found a way to win. That's what makes you number one, right?
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be the most impressive, sexiest win ever. It just needs to be a W at the end of the day.
Yep.
You're not going to remember at the end of the season the game that you almost lost but didn't lose.
You sound like me when I was talking about the Cowboys beating the Vikings.
No, that don't count.
Backup quarter.
No, it's
I don't recall.
It's good. Like, think about the Chiefs right now. That's a perfect example. They look like shit, but they were winning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And here they are. So
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That's a perfect example. They were eking them by. They were ugly.
Yep,
I'm like, at the end of the day, we can sit there and bust up on them all we want, but
and we did.
Right.
And we did. We did plenty of it, but we also agreed. I'm like, but they are still winning.
They have that potential,
Yep. Speaking of which, do we want to go that way? Yeah. Do you want to talk about that game before we finish up the rest of the news?
The Buffalo game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's touch on this because we were done recording when even more mayhem came across. Okay? I'm sure you've seen by now that the Chiefs obviously came back and beat the Bills in overtime. Let's talk about how they got there. First thing I was yelling at. Chris yelled for a different reason. I yelled at another reason. There was 14 seconds,
Yeah. 13 seconds, baby.
13 seconds left to march the field from the 25 to field goal range. Now, field goal range for the average bear, like my cutoff line, it doesn't matter. You can go either which way, but cutoff line, you have to be within at least 50 yards. Like a 50-yard field goal is, if you're kicking anything outside of that, anything else can get crazy, whatever, this, that, and the other, right? So it ended up being a 49-yarder.
Yep.
What ensued? I do believe it went, out route?
It's a screen pass to Tire.
Screen pass that went up for like 12, 15 yards, 15 yards, I think, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yep.
Timeout. And they had 3 timeouts starting the drive.
Mm-hmm.
The next play is the dumbest play I've ever seen in my life.
Dumbest.
And
from a defender.
And I don't want to hear a single Buffalo Bill fan bitch about this loss in any way, shape, or form. Do not want to hear it. Unless you're purely going to go after your head coach and defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Either one or both. Whoever made the call, it doesn't matter. You complained right out of the gate about a 4-man rush. That didn't bug me as much, but I get it. I do. The first thing I said, the first thing I noticed, they had them playing the fucking sideline with nobody playing man up on these guys.
Right.
The Chiefs had 2 timeouts left. They didn't need to go to the outside boundary. You left them wide open to do that.
Yep.
You had nobody on Travis Kelce manning up.
3 timeouts. You don't play the boundary.
Here's a great opinion I heard. And this was the most, like, Jesus, duh. Why the hell did I think of it? And it comes back to your 4-man rush. I don't have a problem with it, like I alluded to, 4-man or anything less. This guy said, he's like, why in the hell did they rush anybody at all? They should have set 11 back in defense. What's Patrick Mahomes going to do? Run the ball?
Right. Run that many times.
He can't hold the ball that long either. He's going to have to throw it out of bounds or and discard it, right?
Right.
To even go on to another play. Why wouldn't you drop 11 back in defense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pass against this, bro.
Exactly.
Put a bunch of corners and linebackers out there.
That's why I said the first thing as soon as they rushed 4, I said, why are you rushing 4? Rush 2. Ever ends drop back, cover in the flats. You don't want anything short. The quarterback runs it out, rolls out, trying to buy some time, and then drop everyone into coverage. Why rush 4?
I don't have like I said, I don't have a problem with that. I'm okay with the 4, even if they went that route. The biggest fault they had wasn't the rush.
Yeah, no, it was
the biggest
that play.
fault. Was the sideline, nobody manning up on defense.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have 13 seconds, people. You could have you have up inside the 5 yards. You have body contact. You could do. You double team the 2 main ones, of course, and you body them for the first 5 yards.
Well, I get why you wouldn't, Tyreek.
No, he can burn by. He burned by you, but you have someone over the top for him, or 2 people over the top. I don't care what you do in that aspect.
But
you definitely got to double him. But body up Kelsey. Why not get hands on him at the line of scrimmage?
Right, absolutely. Slow that down
Nobody
right away.
touched him.
Nobody
touched him. Straight up
into the open,
the gut.
Straight up in the open field.
So I don't want to hear this Grim Reaper talk or whatever that the coach said to Mahomes before he walked out there. Even when it looks grim, there needs to be a Grim Reaper. No, that you were handed a victory, my friend. Kudos to you guys. You did what you needed to do. Absolutely. I'm not trying to take away because it was a shootout. It was an awesome game, right?
One of the best games in a long time.
We were shocked.
Yeah.
We were sitting there trying to record, and every time we turn around, it's like a mass play both ways, touchdown, this, that, and the other, right? The Bills gave you that. The Bills defense or defensive coordinator gave you that. The football IQ was not there, that you did not need to guard the sideline. You should have manned up and had some guys, like obviously just in coverage. You have 13 seconds you need to defend. This dude is not running. He shouldn't be running. Mahomes, that is. Because you're trying to get a chunk of yards. You need to get in field goal range.
Yeah.
You gave it to him.
Right. Yeah, they got 20 yards in back-to-back plays, basically.
And then there was an opportunity, and I think I called it out of the gate. They kicked the extra point, right, the Bills?
Yeah.
What did I say they should have done? That they've been doing all year.
Yeah.
Go for the 2. I mean, even if they would have gotten those yards to kick the game winner, they would have needed more than that. They would 13 seconds to get a touchdown, brother, if you would have got a 2-point conversion. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. Don't get me wrong. But if you were ultimately going to give that up to get it into field goal range to give up the tie anyways, at home, why wouldn't you at least go for it? You've been doing it all year. Bills have been doing that all year, going for some weird-ass 2s, going for it on weird 4th downs. Go for it on 2. Put it in Josh Allen's hands.
Yeah, Josh Allen's stats are pretty crazy in the playoffs. He has almost as many touchdowns as he does in completions in the playoffs to this point. This man, he did everything he could, right?
Yeah.
We can beat up the end of the game and all that stuff a lot because you're totally right. Like, the coverage was dog shit. Like, there's no reason for that. I think one of the big things that surprised me and disappointed me was Stephon Diggs in that game. Yeah. You're telling me, so you're the guy at the last year when this happened. You were the lone player out there watching, and you said it's because you didn't want to feel that again, and you wanted to see what it was like, right, at the end of that game. And so that was a big part of me. I'm like, fuck yeah, all right, dude, we got a little something here. Let's go.
Yep.
And then you don't even show up.
3 catches, 7 yards, and a 2-point conversion. That is your game stat line.
Right.
And tackled a fan on the field.
I did see that. That was a good tackle, by the way.
Yeah.
But I just super disappointed there. Like,
and who is their shutdown corner? That would be his good excuse. For the Kansas City Chiefs?
Exactly.
I'm with you. That is the most disappointing. You had Gabriel Davis who balled out, and that is going to be a footnote that many people aren't going to remember. Over 200 yards and 4 touchdown receptions.
Yeah, balled out. And I'd have to look some more at that. I agree with the Stephon. I think he should have balled out, but maybe they're just taking him away simply. I don't know.
Sometimes you still figure it out. I don't know. You still figure out your guy. You don't have
right, but a guy doesn't go for 4 touchdowns without getting open looks.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm not trying. If you've seen some of the touchdowns,
I'm not trying to deter from that. Yeah. I'm just saying you're telling me there wasn't.
Right, I do think 7 yards and 3 catches is lackluster, but I have to look at it a little more.
They have plenty of receivers on their team. Why would Kansas City focus just on one? I don't see that happening. I haven't watched that close of the game tape, but they have plenty of receivers. They have Emmanuel Sanders. They have Gabriel Davis, who has been doing this all year too, by the way. This isn't just something on spur out of the moment. He has been doing 4 touchdowns, 200 yards, but he has that in him too. And then he had, I can't remember if Cole Beasley was in this game or not, but either way, and then you had Dawson Knox and Singletary out of the backfield. You had other weapons, so there's no way they targeted just one guy. There's no way, right? And if it did, you almost lost it because of that, because you let them put up that many ridiculous points also. Yeah. That was not a very good game plan.
Regardless, that's not the defense that should be shutting you down,
no.
Stephon.
Right.
No. And was Tyron out there for this game?
I think Matthew missed the game.
Yeah. So.
Even better.
Yeah.
Good game, though. Awesome game.
All-time instant classic. One of our league guys told me he had an opportunity to go down, did not hit, and he was going to go down with his daughter, and his daughter has not let him hear the end of it since. Like, we watched, they basically had a shot at watching instant classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and I tell you what, those two teams might have instant classics for the next 5 years. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. If
Like,
they're able to keep their teams intact,
yeah.
absolutely. And that's going to be one hell of a rivalry. Thank you, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, for giving it to us for so many years. But you were able to finally hand it off to we're going to see something great. And we're going to see great AFC quarterback play for the next 10-plus years anyway.
Between Mahomes and Josh Allen, man, it's going to be
Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, we're going to see nothing but that down the road here anyway. But those two right there, if those two met, I hate talking about the Chiefs because the guys we work with.
Mm-hmm.
But, God, if we could watch that game all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I see an awesome meme. It's like, all right, we're canceling the NFL playoffs on the
Best
AFC
of
side.
seven.
It's best of
Best
seven
of
series between these two teams.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, man.
I'd be about it.
All right, so we're going to touch a little bit on what some are considering a controversy, and that'd be the OT.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll go into that.
What do you got, Danny? You did take time out of your day yesterday. Make sure you message us and make sure that we were at least thinking about this because you wanted to talk about it too.
Yeah, this is a big deal. I think when you're listening to anybody talk about that game, there's tons of people that are pissed off, right? Usually Bills fans. And I get it. It's it's a shitty way to end the game when both teams didn't even get the ball. Okay. So nobody's saying, like, here's what should happen, right? And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to think about it, but over the past few years, there have been some pretty kind of unique ideas, right? Mm-hmm. Like the Ravens came up with that idea a few years back. They proposed basically in overtime, instead of a coin flip, you decide where the ball is going to be on the field. And so the home team, the away team gets to decide who gets the ball then. Otherwise, all the rules remain the same, which, all right, that's interesting, right? And things like that. But I wanted to kind of pick your brain and see, like, what should they do? Because regardless of the outcome, if the Chiefs won, I'd still be like, man, I want to see something different, you know?
Right.
What do you guys think?
So I was thinking about this, and I like going the way of the college. You know, everybody gets the ball, and after a certain amount of times going, you got to go for two, right? I think, though, you put it on 25, right? The kick, like a kick return or the kickoff, right? Goes in the end zone. Put it on the 25. If they drive down, get a touchdown, you get a chance to match it. Okay, so it goes on your 25, and you go down. You get a touchdown. Now we flip. Now we can add, the second one, if you get a touchdown, you have to go for two. We can go that route too. But at least everybody gets that shot, right? Doesn't matter. That's why I went away from if you just go get in the field goal range and kick it, and you win the game. That's why we gave the other team the ball. Yeah. But in a shootout like this, both defenses were gassed.
Yeah.
So give both offenses the ball, no matter what. Give them a chance to match that at least.
Okay.
So, boom, if you score a touchdown, you get a chance. You go score a touchdown. Second team, if you go score a touchdown, now you put it in the end zone, you got to go for two. If you don't get it, they drive down, put it in and go for two, and they get it, they win the game.
Yeah. Okay. I like that, the college style. What about you, Jim?
Of course, the college, it goes on the 25 of your opponent. So, shorter field. Obviously, they got to go the whole length.
Yeah. Started like the old school, like the 20 or something, or what?
Yeah, like on a touchback.
Yeah.
So, touchback, yardage 25, start there.
Okay.
Nothing. It's perfect.
Beautiful.
The rules are the rules. And they've already adjusted this once. You know what the rules are. You both play by the same set of rules. Play some defense on that then. That's all you have to do. You have to hold them to a field goal to get the ball back to have a shot.
So, did you like it the last time, what it was before they changed it?
No, having the opportunity, like at least if our defense shows up to limit them to a field goal, then yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to at least get a field goal, and then whatever happens, happens. I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying, like, it is what it is. You knew what it was. They both knew what it was when they went into it. You know what? How you prevent that? Because most of it right now, the reason why it's a hot topic is because the Bills, and you want to see Josh Allen touch the ball again. Great. Josh Allen wouldn't have needed to touch the ball again if the Bills played defense the correct way. the game would have been over.
Well, it wasn't just this year. I mean, last year.
No,
right,
absolutely.
Chiefs?
And I'm saying the reason why it's a conversation right now again.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
Yeah, so my point is, not regardless of why anybody's talking about the rule, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Their overtime is dumb as fuck, right?
Oh,
so what would you do to make it better?
Nothing.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying
I did like that. I did like that.
just you could just leave it, and that's what the rule is. So I say you just give them each a possession. And if that first team goes down and they kick or they get a touchdown and they decide to go for an extra point and they get it, next team does get the ball. They come down. If they score a touchdown, they have to go for 2. This game ends right now, either whether you make it or you don't make it. And you're done.
Okay.
I agree and disagree with the college one. Like, putting it from the 30 and doing this, that, and the other, and making 2. It's either that or if we're going to make it that comical, because that kind of is. I mean, those are fun to watch, but they're at like the 35-yard line. You're at a field goal range. You're right at field goal range already, because you can kick field goals too at that. If we're going to do that, just line up the kickers, and whoever makes the most out of 50 from the 50-yard line in general, just do a kickoff. As in, you know what I'm saying? Like literally what they do in soccer and hockey and shoot-offs.
Now, I would watch that.
Exactly. Put some pressure on the kickers. You actually...
That's... Okay, so that's
you know what?
part
Let's
of
switch it
my-
around. Let's punt it. Whoever can get closest to the
So
goal
my
line.
2 that I want to get upset by is the one I said before, the original, because technically they both get to touch the ball. The other team that comes back down, you need to go for 2. You don't have an option because this game ends whether you make it or you miss it.
Yeah.
Or we do a kickoff, and it's 50-yarders.
Yeah.
Not anything more. You're doing it from distance too, from accuracy. It doesn't matter. 50 yards is 50 yards. That's a lot. And if it's out of 10, you just do a kickoff back and forth until one misses.
Okay. So I'm going to combine your ideas, essentially. Okay? So
Okay.
I like where you're going. Because there's also got to be like a dramatic piece to this, right? So we want it to be reasonable, but we want there to be a little drama. And people finish watching the game because it's not going to end in a tie, blah, blah, blah. So when I thought through this, I'm like, okay, in overtime, this is what's going to decide the game. I want to see every aspect of football. I want to see the offense, the defense, and special teams. And this will also make teams maybe actually try to get better kickers and stuff like that too. But my thought is, okay, if something happens like that, Chiefs come down, score. Okay, Bills now come down and score. There's a kickoff. It's like, okay, you guys tied. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put it at something like 50 yards. Each kicker is going to have a shot. If you make it, we're going to back it up until one of the kickers misses, and then that's the game. So then you have a chance to display the entire aspect of football in overtime, and ultimately the winner gets decided right there. I think that's, I don't know. I think when you combine everything together, including the drama at the end, that's where I'm at.
See, I'd be okay with something like that because the reason why is that you could sit there because someone's like, well, just play the full 8 minutes or the full 15 minutes of the overtime, whatever, you know. I'm like, it can still end up in a tie.
Yeah.
It can still do that. Make it to where it can't end up in a tie. It literally is, this is it right now. And a kickoff would end up eventually doing that because there's no way that they're going to go 100 for 150 yarders. No way that's happening, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to get tired, which will also bring up the physical part too. I think it should go through I think the regular season should be just like kickoffs like that too, honestly. Like shorten this shit up. Because they're worried about player safety
ties,
too.
Right?
Yeah,
That
ties
too.
should not be a thing.
Yeah.
No.
This is professional goddamn sports.
I think we agree. Ties should not be a thing.
That should not be a thing. That's what they say. That's one of my favorite lines from Bad News Bears, the new version. He's like, you know, we tied today, gentlemen. I know that's like kissing your sister. But the way we've been playing, that's like kissing a really hot stepsister. but regardless, ties should not be involved. Definitely not in professional sports.
No.
Yep.
I don't even think it should be allowed in college sports outside, and not unless you're like down youth shit, honestly. High school, maybe I would even allow it, but I don't think it should be allowed college and up. But that's where I am. I know that's where you are. You want to do, before I break it up a little bit here, before I get into the finishing news, want to do some of your Rio randoms?
You can knock out your news, and we'll finish up
Let's
with
do
that.
it.
Okay. Let's see what we got. Red Sox slugger David Ortiz is the lone inductee into the Baseball Hall of Fame. as Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens miss out again.
And now I believe they can only be voted in by
senior panels or something like that.
I can't remember what it's called exactly, but that's the only way in. Now they can no longer be up into the vote.
Yep.
It's fucking bullshit, right?
Bullshit.
It is.
Barry Bonds changed the game.
Not even that. Just that Ortiz wiggled his way in.
He did.
But these guys who have the same thing, the same asterisks on their careers.
His was never proven though, Danny. Whatever do you mean?
Man, I know. He
was part
positive.
He was part. Yeah, exactly, but then they try to come out and say they didn't know, and the test results were skewed or whatever, false positive, and they came out and did another test. He never tested positive again.
Yeah,
and then he was in that report that you remember that?
Yeah, the big name drop.
The name drop one. He was named in that, but never questioned. And I'm with you. I'm with you on it about the whole thing.
Yeah,
he's a more favorable guy. These guys are media darlings. David Ortiz was. I found out something a little interesting while I was dropping my daughter off at school or off at dance. I found out that David Ortiz, he runs a charity down in wherever country he's from, Puerto Rico, Cuba, wherever the hell he's from. He runs one down there for charity baseball for kids. He invited and would fly in baseball writers.
Of course.
So he's been and he's been doing this for a long time. He's been planning this for the better part of 10, 15 years. Like, you're a media darling. You're there's plenty of guys that deserve to be in. Every time this comes around, every time. I'm not saying David Ortiz doesn't deserve it. It's just like, if you're going to do it, then.
Yep.
But every time this comes around, I still take it as a mockery and a joke that you don't have the all-time hits leader in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Pete Rose, I don't care about the rest of them. Like, I do care. I think Barry Bonds should be. We've been on the record about this. Put an asterisk saying they were in the steroid era. Don't give a shit. Don't care how you classify, but they deserve to be Hall of Famers.
Yep.
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose, that is hands down one of the most competitive dudes. Over 4,000 hits, ladies and gentlemen. So
still had to swing the bat. Who gives a shit if he was betting on what this and that? He still had to swing the bat to get those hits.
And he bet as a manager.
And
he did it on his own team.
Yeah.
He was like he was point shaving. He wasn't
right.
He wasn't losing games on purpose.
Right.
He's that competitive. He was betting on his team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you should be able to do it, but the government is allowed to buy stock though and have insider trading. They're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But my point is as long as that man isn't in, I don't take it that serious anymore. Anyways. I don't care if you thought that was shameful to baseball, the MLB and this, that, and the other, because technically it's a baseball Hall of Fame, not the MLB Hall of Fame.
Is Hank Aaron in the Hall of Fame?
Hank Aaron is in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. So in his own book, and I heard this, by the way, on PTI today when I was listening to it. In his own book that he wrote, he talked about how he did amphetamines before the games. So he's saying it. So what are we going to do? Take him out?
Right.
No, he's one of the fucking greatest players ever, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a game.
Shit's been happening forever. If you can find an edge to make yourself better, you're going to do it. Until you get caught, then you're going to find another way to do it.
I agree 1,000%. How in the hell do we know, from just because 99.999% of the people can't do it and can't function that way, how do we know alcohol didn't help Babe Ruth?
Yeah.
How do you know that it didn't take the pain away and let him free swing comfortably? How do you know? You don't know that. It's still, it may not be, it's a harder argument. I understand that, but 99.9% of people might not be able to do it. Does not mean it doesn't work differently for him.
Yeah. Who was the...
That's still, to me, that is a performance enhancer. And technically, by my definition of performance enhancer, technically you shouldn't be weightlifting then.
Yeah. You shouldn't get laser eye surgery.
No. Especially laser eye surgery.
Yeah.
You'd see the ball better. But weightlifting is performance enhancing. I'm not saying that I disagree with doing any of that, but you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You're always working at something. What the fuck are we doing? Get these old ass writers out of there. I'll make all the votes. We'll put them in the right way right now.
What? God damn it, Rio. You probably know this. The pitcher that he pitched a perfect game, but he was on LSD when he did it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do not know.
Fuck.
I'll type
Google this.
I'm looking it
He talks about it, or he did. Can't remember if he's alive. He did talk about it at least. But he was legit on LSD when he pitched. No hitter or perfect game. I want to say it was perfect game though. Regardless.
Pitched on acid. I didn't even finish the sentence. Doc Ellis?
Okay. Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know the name.
Yeah,
Hold on.
either.
So, would a few of these latter-day myths compare with the unthinkable feat that played out on a misty night in San Diego 5 decades ago this month, when a 25-year-old right-handed starter for the Pittsburgh Pirates named Doc Ellis threw a no-hitter while tripping on LSD.
How crazy is that?
That is crazy.
I'm high as a Georgia pine, he says.
Yeah, who knows if that helped, right? Maybe
we
that
don't
had him zone in.
We don't know,
I
and
don't
that's
know.
the point.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between that and people putting pain medications and shit injected into their body? They decided to do something that probably wasn't good for their body, because I'm gonna tell you, pain injections are not good for your body either.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
So what's that any difference than you wanting to pump muscle into yours and it's not healthy either?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to be clear, I think everybody should have the ability to do it, right? But the biggest thing that I feel bad for, so some of these guys are getting screwed out of the Hall of Fame, but I think about like the players that could have made it up, but because somebody was juicing, they took their spot, and so these guys are stuck because they're doing it the right way, right, while somebody else is doing it. Like, that's the only kind of negative.
I think
right?
everybody's been doing steroids, and so the playing field was even.
I think a high majority, yeah.
Definitely, even the
It's
lower level
it's
ball players.
It's
are
like
probably
Danny.
doing
The
it
first
too.
thing we thought about, like, you were probably going to have a cap when you did your competitive weightlifting.
Right.
You're a powerful man, very strong man, but you're going to have a cap. Why do you have that cap, Danny? Because you weren't going to do steroids, correct?
Right.
How many of those boys were?
Oh, in powerlifting? Like 2 or 3 probably is all.
2 or 3.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
Not even a
My point
concern.
is,
I
because
get
you're
you.
not willing to do that, which is fine. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It was their choice to throw their body at risk
Fair.
and do that.
That's a good point.
I don't think that's any different. If you
Yeah.
wanted to compete on that level, go ahead and inject it in your ass, son. Me and him will put the needle in. Actually, I'll have him do it because he'll have to shoot it twice.
Yeah.
Just like the snow, dickbag. But yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. When I went to those competitions, God, Danny was impressive. He was. You look around though, and it's like, dude, Danny, you're not injecting, bro. All these guys are.
All these guys, right? They got something else growing.
He knows
in
what
it.
he knows what I'm talking about, and
Yeah,
it
it's
isn't
different.
right. It isn't fair, but it is what it is. You
Yeah.
know what? If it's not fair, go ahead and do it because they're not doing anything about it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and I think a high majority of players actually were doing it. It just
Yeah.
when you're in the minor league level, you're not getting checked. They obviously they don't pay you enough to do any of your housing or anything anyway, so they're sure still not worried about what you're injecting.
All right.
You know, so I
Yeah.
think a lot of people were doing it. I really do. And
too.
it's no different. Clemens had to face men that were on steroids. What's the difference? You know, and
Yeah.
baseball pitchers in both ways, you know.
Yeah, foreign substances were out there. I mean,
Yeah.
playing field was plenty even.
It's to find the edge, and they've always
fair.
it's always been that way. You have your little knack whenever you play any sport that you think is a competitive edge for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It could be a goddamn sweatband.
right. I
That's a
mean,
good
there,
point. I
there
don't
was
feel
plenty
bad
of
anymore.
sign stealing, so yeah, everybody was doing.
I
stuff.
think I think his dad running him over with a lawnmower, taking off half his foot, is a competitive advantage. When someone's trying to wrestle you, they can't. They're trying to grab you by the foot. They don't have
Right.
a full fucking foot to
Yeah,
grab.
heel hook, right?
Right, just right. When I was doing jujitsu, they're like, "I'm trying to heel hook you." I'm like, "Surprise!
Surprise!
No heel."
No, it's just hypocritical that Ortiz is in. Long story short.
I
right?
get what I'm with you on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou will have to undergo knee surgery before he is able to train or compete again. He suffered a torn MCL and a damaged ACL during sparring sessions in the build-up to the fight.
Yeah, we talked about that, and
I think
I don't know if y'all saw, but
this gives
Serial
him.
Gaines' coach told him not to kick that knee because he didn't buy the rumors that he actually had injured it.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have been booting the shit out of it. But regardless, this actually comes in perfect timing for him. He said he wasn't going to fight under the current contract. This
Mhm.
gives him that leeway without any legal, right?
Right.
Yep.
Technically, just because some people get over it in 4 to 6 months doesn't mean that your body don't take longer. It's going to take a year and a half.
See, I think it was his last fight on his contract too, so they can strip him and be like, "See ya."
No,
right?
Technically there's
always a
no. Technically with him,
Oh,
if you're the champ, you gotta fight.
You get one more.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I do have to say with Ngannou, there's got to be some legitimate bad beef with Dana and him because they didn't do anything to promote the fight. It was almost like they're fucking him on purpose, right? To be like, you said you wanted more money, but look at this pay-per-view.
I agree with you because I don't remember seeing that it was happening until literally that, like the day of or a couple days before it finally was popping up on ESPN's main page.
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing it anywhere. I wasn't seeing it any on our Facebook, Twitter, any of that stuff. And usually it has all that stuff up there. I wasn't seeing it.
Yeah.
Not unless you're going to MMA sites, but that isn't, no offense, that isn't how you promote when you're trying to promote when you're big boys. You're trying to get the average fan or whatever to buy that too. So I'm with you. I
did see Cyril Gain has his coach has some guys flying in from Dagestan to help him with his wrestling for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, if there's a place, man, that's where you want to bring him from. Yeah.
Yep.
Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers hints decision on future likely by franchise tag deadline out of respect for Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw something come out.
We've said that they're kind of tied together.
They are.
There's no. So I walked in on part of your conversation, and maybe I heard you wrong, but if they franchise tag him, he's probably not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So Aaron Rodgers would have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, if he wants to play with him, would have to play another year there with him before they move on somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years the franchise tag goes. I think that's a little ridiculous too.
Well, how long did Kurt? They've tagged him 3 or 4
years, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and that third year is crazy numbers.
Yeah, it's a huge punishment, like a huge tax or whatever it is, and it keeps elevating tremendously after the first, and like goes up a ridiculous amount like after the third one, and they may do it 2 years with him, but then by that time I don't know. But we all know that his decision is kind of tied to a Devontae too.
Yeah.
Charles Olivier to defend title versus Justin Gaethje at UFC 274 in May, Dana White says.
Saw that come out. I think it'll be a great fight. He showed with Poirier that he can stand and strike with him. Now, power-wise, Gaethje all the way.
Yeah, for sure.
But at least he's shown that he can stand and strike with strikers.
Yeah.
I think it'll be an awesome fight.
I think so, too. That was the first time I truly got to watch when we watched that Olivier fight against Poirier. Poirier seems like a very, very patient fighter. I don't know if Justin Gaethje is that patient. So I'm not making my pick yet or anything by that stretch, but it's going to be a good fight regardless. We got to see the last time Justin got up in there and just
and I think
beat the shit out of
that fight. He was very patient, so I think he can be.
I think he can be, but it's almost like he only has like a fight or two, and then he kind of goes ADHD.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Can he be patient? Absolutely,
that's
can be.
Nasty.
Jesus, clean that mic up, man.
Oh, that was
also,
goddamn Dr. Pepper.
The fight's also basically a home fight for the champ.
Yeah. Yep.
So the crowd's going to be behind him. So we'll see. Gaethje is one of those guys you always have to tune in. He's so fun to watch.
Yes.
So
he's just so much power. He can be falling over, almost knocked out, knock somebody out.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He looks like he's even like way more cross-eyed, like in the middle of the fight, and then all of a sudden, dink. It's almost like he fights better when he's dazed and confused. Mm-hmm. That being said, like you guys have alluded to many times, though, is he doesn't even go to his strength. If you want to wrap up these victories a hell of a lot, possibly a hell of a lot cleaner, go to your wrestling game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this next fight's gonna be tough for that.
Right. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist. Mm-hmm. Definitely probably stay away. I mean, most of it, but
try to.
You probably feel more comfortable on your feet on this fight.
In this one, absolutely. But he has the skill set to get himself out of that jam too, right? It'd be a good fight, regardless.
Yeah.
Raiders cornerback Nate Hobbs guilty of Vegas traffic charge, but not the DUI. His blood alcohol level was .07 compared to the state law of .08. He was passed out. He wasn't driving. He was passed out on the side of like an offshoot off the interstate in his vehicle. But
yeah, that
Little
whole deal
positive
was horrible just because of what happened with the Rangers organization and Ruggs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so another
'cause
young
it was like shortly after.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So another young player doing the same thing, mostly that DUI kind of deal, and obviously he's going to avoid it, but still drinking and getting behind the wheel, and it's not a good thing.
Not at all.
When you hear these stories, it's like, if I could have somebody just drive me around all the time, that's 100% what I would do.
Yeah.
Why don't...
Where money isn't an option?
Yeah.
Like it's not a problem. Your team owners, unless you're ashamed of your drinking habits, your team owners and everyone up in the executives have said, here's the numbers if you want to have fun for the after ride. We will come get you. Someone will come get you at any time.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of these players have said that. They've said that the teams take care of that aspect. Now, whether you're embarrassed or worried about what the team is going to think of you, I don't know. I mean, I'd take the free ride. I don't give a shit. I'm here to ball, son. I'm here to party. This is a game at the end of the day, and I'm gonna have fun, and I'm gonna tear the roof off tomorrow. Hungover as shit. Call for the ride. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't know how that's even. In every one of these cities, there's always an Uber. These aren't small towns, right? Ubers, taxis, whatever's running,
Yeah.
There's something.
Doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
and that's what I got. Rio.
Boom.
Awesome. All right. Well, we will roll into Rios Randoms, brought to you by Bose Power Washing, located in Belmont, Iowa. Hit him up for any of your needs, cleaning needs, power wash decks, anything like that. He also moves snow, so give him a shout.
Lawn mowing, gutter cleaning,
Yep.
all that works.
Anything you need. All right.
Shout out to Beauchart.
Tonight, if you had to get rid of alcohol forever or caffeine, which would it be?
Oh, damn. For me, it'd have to be alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like my caffeine. It gets
Caffeine is like alcohol. You can accidentally make alcohol. You're not really getting rid of it. You just accidentally make it. So, but not caffeine, no. There's no way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But goddamn, Zimpro
here's
drove
the
me to
thing.
drink. So
We work a third shift job. Now, if you work in just a straight first shift, would it be different?
no, I still need coffee in the morning.
Okay.
I need something to kind of wake
Yeah.
me up because I'm not a morning person. Not that more early, like 5.
You're not a night person either, I found out.
I am too, unfortunately. Second shift would probably be the most ideal to be 100%, but that doesn't work with family life,
Right.
honestly.
Mhm.
But if I'm first shift, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Like if the job started at like 7 or 8, there'd be no problem. I might not even need caffeine. But 5 o'clock in the morning, yeah, I need something to wake my eyes. I swear to God, the crust doesn't come out like that. Need the caffeine to loosen it up.
That's right. That's right.
All right, yeah, so we're all kind of on board.
Yeah.
What is the worst job interview you've ever had?
I know what Chris's was. It was this one.
Yeah, my interviewee was naked.
Well, the problem is, you see how you deal under pressure or aroused, whichever happens first.
I was trying to hold back laughter from seeing that little thing
That's fine.
flopping around down there.
It's all about me, baby.
Man, I haven't had myself. I interview pretty well generally, but as far as I've interviewed a lot of people in my life, and I haven't seen anything too crazy. There's some dumb answers people give and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the funniest thing for me is when I worked corporate life down in Des Moines, the emails people use on their resumes.
Oh yeah.
They're
Sometimes
so them
They made them when they were like 12.
Yeah, and they keep it, and that's what they use forever, right?
Yeah.
Like Misty Sex Kitty, 420, whatever.
Yeah.
Like crazy shit, and you're like, is this the right contact email? Yep. Okay.
All right, I'm going to reply. Hey, Miss
Yeah.
Sexy Kitty.
Right. It's
You on OF?
no doubt.
You sound like a classy lady.
You
We mean
classy
Karen
lady.
right now.
Yes.
We mean kitty. We don't mean like House of Cats, do we?
Hell yeah.
Right.
What do you got, Jim, or anything?
Technically, I do. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't think I've ever not gotten a job offer after getting the physical interview.
Yep.
I can give you one, or I do. I do have one where I did not get the job. And that's because I want to lean towards because I didn't have the experience, but it could have been how I was like slaughtering it too. Aflac in Forest City. I tried to go outside my box. Never done that before. I'm what would like to be called a factory monkey, or construction grunt work, make big buck for tearing your body. But I go there and go do that as this guy, and he's all sophisticated. Well, not sophisticated because it's a small town and shit, but you can still tell that he was looking for somebody that at least has flirted with this stuff before. And I didn't know how to answer some of that shit. I'm like, come on, bruh. Just give me the pamphlet for what the fuck I'm selling, and I get this. Like, damn, dude.
Okay.
That has to be my worst because technically I didn't get. I can't remember if even I got a call back. I don't get turned down very often when I get the actual interview.
Except in the house, right?
What?
You don't get turned down very often, except in the house.
I don't. I just don't even try. Then I can't. Then my batting percentage stays where it was in high school.
There you go. All right. So
You're not wrong
with
though.
you.
Yeah,
I think I've gotten a job, at least the offer everywhere I've been, but I had one interview that was tough, and not on my part, but the guy interviewing me, it was at Jack in the Box, all right, and so a high school job, and he's just sit down, oh, welcome here, and he's got this massive, just runny booger coming out of his nose, and he keeps on deep sniffing, and it would go up, and it would pop back out, and like kind of be dripping down his front lip, and it would suck back in and then drip back down.
Oh my god!
Homeboy had a lisp too, so that just made it cherry on top. And then he's like, "All right, well, we offered the job." And then he asked me how I feel about drug paraphernalia.
Oh my god!
You know, because some of us guys are kind of into that. I was like, "What?"
Well, I'm like, "Well, what?" I was gonna say, "Well, what do you use?"
Yeah, it depends.
You're right. Yeah, I got some LSD in the back. Whoa.
Hey, I thought you were just talking about some rolling papers.
Right.
What's that movie? He's like, yeah, it's all generic. He's like, meth's not generic. Well, it generically grows in my cousin's basement in Baltimore. Yeah, so that was pretty tough. I ended up turning it down and going across town to Taco Casa.
Yeah,
Taco Casa.
Not Jack in the Box.
He kind of blended right in. And then you end up getting boned out of that job too.
Yeah.
Hey, didn't you train your replacement?
I trained my
Attaboy.
replacement. Yeah, that was cool.
I wonder if she's still there.
Miss her. It was, yeah.
Classy.
Classy.
What do you got?
And for my last one, if you had to choose an animal to help you in a fight, which one would it be?
Yeah. Baby.
Okay, land or water? Where are we at?
You do have to trim this down a little bit.
Just on land.
Okay.
I'm going first. Fucking kangaroo.
Fucking kangaroo.
I'm gonna fuck some people up. Dude, have you seen them? They're mean as shit.
Oh yeah. I get it. Kangaroo's nice. I'm gonna one up your kangaroo with a fucking gorilla. Well, okay.
You son of a bitch. God damn it. Yeah. That was gonna have to be the move there. I'm like, what a dick. All right, I'm gonna try to think of a different one.
Spider monkey.
Yeah, come at you all spider monkey like. How about, dude? You took my fucking name. God damn it.
All right, Jimmer's got gorilla, and I think I'm actually gonna go hippo then.
Oh.
Hippos are mean as fuck.
And
Yeah,
you
they
get a
are.
little combo too.
Yep.
You get a little combo just because they do need to go in the water.
Yeah.
Right, you got a little ATV, all-purpose
Yes, sir.
fighting animal.
I was actually gonna say as a backup. I was gonna say a tiger.
Okay.
Heaviest cat there is.
Okay.
Wreck some shit.
Carry a fucking deer up a tree. Those
Yeah.
Not a
Cats are
tiger, maybe a leopard
insane.
though.
No, a tiger can.
Really?
Yes.
Every video I've seen is like a leopard, like a black leopard. Have you seen
There's
them?
a lot of those. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those leopards, black leopards do crazy stuff, like pull alligators out of the Nile and stuff. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And that's what I got.
Boom.
All right. So your weird law for the evening:
Let's go.
do not molest butterflies in Pacific Grove, California.
I usually stay away from the molesting game.
Hold on. Say I wanted to. What's the situation?
It just says when the monarch butterflies make their annual pilgrimage to town, give them wide berth. Look with your eyes, not with your hands, people. You're not supposed to touch the butterflies, but it clearly said, do not molest butterflies in Pacific Grove, California.
Yeah. Have you ever been to one of those towns where apparently they stop through? Grapevine, Texas, they do, and they have this whole big thing in the summer, and they release them, they catch them for a couple hours and let them go, stuff like that, and they come in. It's a whole big festival, crazy big thing.
Okay.
Can you molest butterflies?
You can't touch them.
You can't
can't?
touch
You
them?
can.
Oh, can. Okay.
So you can molest them.
Yes, you
Okay.
can.
You
Molest
can't molest them in Pacific Grove, California.
Gotcha.
So just hands in your pocket, Jimmer.
Hands in your
Hands
pocket.
in your pockets.
Doesn't mean you can't tongue punch it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There
We got to watch Jimmer's hands in his
Damn,
pockets.
how weird of a thing you got to call out. Like, we've
I
had
had
some
his attention.
situations.
I know. I had the attention as soon as he dropped the word. There's certain words that make your ears perk up. Good, bad, whatever, or what the fuck is about to be said. Molest, when you start with one of those words up in there, that gets your attention, right?
Who?
Sodomy. Usually that
Right.
will happen.
Yeah.
Jerry Sandusky.
Yes.
Sandusky'd.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's what I have for mine.
Alrighty.
Boom. So I'll do the It Makes Sense tonight.
Ooh.
Perfect.
And it's actually great. This might be something you were with me on.
Ooh, I like it.
So you'll have to let me know. But here's the deal. We were at a bar in good old Mason City, Iowa. Okay? And we were visiting a friend we hadn't seen in a long time, actually. He just happened to show up at the bar. This friend lives in Florida now. Okay? And so to this point, we haven't seen him in like 10 years either, like right now. But back then, it was a while. Saw him there. And we're talking and everything and having a few drinks. And he's like, yo, I got a pig that barks like a dog in my backyard.
What the
And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Well, like, that's the weirdest thing to say. Like, what? And he's like, no, I'm dead serious. He's like, he's huge. And he barks. And I'm like, you fucking do not. Like, what are you talking about? So this went on for a little bit. And finally, we're like, all right, well, I'm going to go see this pig, right? Like, let's go check it out.
Let's see.
Were you there that night?
No.
Okay. So, so this is where I learned about what he had going on in his backyard. So we go to his backyard, and his backyard's fenced in. And then, sure as shit, there's a pig pen in his backyard. Apparently in Mason City, you can have a pig as long as you have a pig pen set up in your backyard.
Okay.
And this fucking guy had one. And so he's like, you have to be quiet. He's sleeping, whatever. And I'm like, how fucking big is this thing? What are you talking about? You know? So we get in and we kind of sneak up or whatever. And there is this motherfucking 1,000-pound pig
What the hell?
sitting in the pig pen in his backyard. And I'm like, what are you doing? This thing needs to be at like the state fair. I'm like, okay, like, so he barks though? Like, I'm still not sold, right? I'm like,
Right. Yeah,
there's,
you're
there's
right.
no way, right? And he's like, no, I'm fucking dead serious. Watch this. Or no, he tried to get me to slap his ass. And I was like, I am not doing that.
First off, I've seen this
No,
in a movie.
sir. No, sir.
I'm like, I have seen this movie. I am not doing that. So he tried to fight me, wouldn't do it. So he's like, all right, fine. So he goes up, whack, as hard as he can, slaps this pig in the ass. And this size pig, man, they got straight up alligator mouths, right? So he's fucking, bark, 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 bark. He's legit barking at us, dude.
What the heck?
Fucking barking. Huge fucking teeth. He's got the tusks and everything. And he's barking and he comes and I'm like shitting my pants. I'm like, what the fuck? He's barking at us. And then he realized it was this guy and he like calmed down or whatever. And we're like, why does he bark? Like, what the fuck is going on here? It is the weirdest thing. So we're out there and it's actually pretty cool. I don't know if you've ever seen a pig like fucking shotgun a beer, but they'll straight up take the whole beer, the can and everything, and they're going to eat that shit.
Oh,
It's
hell
gone.
yeah.
So it was kind of cool. But the story he told us around it was his parents, they bred pugs, right? And his dad used to work at one of the animal places there in Mason City, like a Petco or something like that. And when he was working there, somebody dropped off this baby pig, and at the time, like, the size of the palm of his hand. They're like, I can't take care of it. I need you guys to. Well, the store was basically going to throw it away. And he's like, I'll try. Like, I'll see if I can save him, whatever. And his dad brought it back to the house and nursed it to health. And this pig was raised around these pugs. So when he was little, he would run and jump on the couch and do all that stuff, like inside the house. What the hell? Insane. But the crazy thing about it is
it was supposed to be a pot belly. I do remember that, right? Because they didn't know it was supposed to be a full grown.
Yeah. This is State Fair. I'm not even kidding. State Fair.
I had seen this, but they thought it was supposed to be a pot belly.
Yeah. So the animal like control in Mason City or whatever was like, hey, if you ever need food for your animals, just let us know. So they would get extra dog food, and he'd eat dog food. And to that point, when I went there, he would still eat like tons of dog food. I'm talking 100 pounds of dog food a week.
What?
This pig would eat, right? At
Holy
that point.
Cow.
So he grew up around dogs and everything like that pretty soon, too big for the house. They finally set up the pig pen. Fucking insane. And this dog, it might as well
dog.
This pig was so big, and he was scary as fuck. And I'm like, he would kill me. Like, and so the joke back then was always like, if we ever, need to bury a body, we'd just feed him to the pig and nobody will know, right?
Right.
But yeah, so easy. And so after that point, at some, I don't know when, I talked to him and I'm like, so did you ever figure out how much he actually weighed? And he's like, yeah. So a pig that size, they don't actually like weigh. Somebody will go over and do measurements and stuff. And he was over 1,000 pounds.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Humongous. And there were, I never saw this, but people told me that him and his dad would, and they're both big guys. They're both very large gentlemen at the time, right? They would actually take a car chain and walk him around the neighborhood.
What the hell?
No shit. Yeah. And
get his exercise in.
It was so sometimes they would have to let him out in the backyard to clean the pig pen. And one of our good friends, Mr. Nate York, was there, right? And he was not ready for what was about to happen. So they let the pig out, and he fucking runs straight at Nate, straight at him. And Nate is actively shitting his pants, and he turns around and just punches him in the nose as hard as he can, and he backs off and just goes to play. This fucking 900,000-pound pig just running around, frolicking in the fucking backyard.
Frolicking in the yard.
Yeah.
Coming at him,
shit.
I like his reaction, like just punches him too.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what to do.
I don't know what else to do. I'm probably not gonna outrun this thing. So
yeah. So that dog, fucking a pig that barks like a dog.
Dog pig.
Wow.
If you don't think about it, words of wisdom. If somebody tells you that, it's probably true. That's a fucked up story to make up.
Right.
Right.
Words of wisdom. Make sure you know what you're buying.
Yeah, no
Or
doubt.
taking
Or what
control
you're taking
of.
on.
Yeah.
Well, they were always proud of it though. So it isn't like they were like, oh shit. After it kept growing, they're like,
What do you
always
do?
proud of that thing.
I mean, then you just go, hey, we got bacon for a while.
Some bacon, some ham.
Here's the weird. Besides the pig barking, the weirdest thing about that story. Have you ever seen pugs try to make babies? Have you ever seen them get it in?
Yes.
They're angry.
I know this because my dad and my ex-stepmom
Used to do the same thing, and you watched.
no, they had one. She had a pug, and we had them mate with one of their dogs.
They're mean, dude.
Yeah,
they are mean. So they had.
We had to lock them in the garage in this little corner. They're really like the female does not want that, and it is like a very mean process.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
So they had one boy and I don't know how many females, and the boy would do anything. They'd be basically almost sitting on the ground, and he'd slide under and try to pump one out. Like it did not matter.
Yeah.
But the females would fight once one of them was about to get it in, and it was the most disgusting, vicious thing I've ever seen in my life.
Crazy.
Just educational purposes. If you're breeding pugs,
Right, we're now educational podcast.
and I wish we could do a whole episode on stories about that family.
Oh yeah,
man, very interesting.
There was a top 5, and I will give you that right now. There were. Every year, the Globe Gazette, the newspaper over there, used to put in the top 5 places that took on police calls. The top 4 were always some version of a store, or the school.
Yeah.
So usually like Walmart, Shopko at the time, Kmart was still around. It doesn't matter. Name the store, and then there was like one for the school also. Well, every time they come out to even do any version of checks is, even if it's not a call in, they still chalk it up as that, right? Number 5 on the list was this residence. They called the cops on each other when they get into it.
What the hell?
Yes.
It's crazy.
On everything. And you cracked the top. You know how many numbers you have to get? It was like 147 or some shit.
Insane.
That's like almost half the year. Almost half the year you're calling. Every other day almost.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yep.
But yeah, it makes sense if you don't think about it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Man, I'm like, how have we not talked about this one so far? But, yeah, I think that about wraps it up. You got anything else, boys?
No,
we're
good.
That is it.
Beautiful. Well, I guess everybody that is listening, don't forget, we've got merch. We've got the merch, shirts. We've got stickers. We've got hats coming, hopefully in a few weeks now. Should be February, but we're pretty pumped about these hats. We've been waiting on them for a long time.
Yes.
So keep a lookout for that. The podcast, if you don't know this, let's say you're watching on YouTube. The podcast is available where, Jimmer?
Everywhere you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple, Facebook. I think there's one called like Breaker Radio, whatever. Google Podcasts, YouTube, as you so eloquently put it, and come listen.
Beautiful.
Enjoy.
Give us
Share.
a listen. Interact. And when you
Share,
do interact,
like, post.
You know
post
it.
for sure. Yeah, we need some more comments.
I did have one.
Okay.
Did you guys want to do that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Funny story? Or do you want to wait till Friday?
Funny story.
The one with Will and his daughter.
Let's do it
It don't
Friday.
matter.
Let's do it Friday.
Yeah, we'll
do it Friday.
Okay.
We'll bring up some funny stories and shit on there. He brought up one with his daughter, a little sassy with the mom. It'll be thoroughly enjoyable.
That'll be enjoyable. We can all relate to that.
Yeah.
You know it.
But as Jimmer was saying, definitely make sure you interact, comment, everything like that. Even share a story if you've got to make sense, some funny shit you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
It all goes down
It all goes down in the DMs.
Yeah.
in the DMs, baby.
You know it.
That's right. So make sure to hit us up. I think that about wraps it up for us tonight, guys. So this is 3 Gigs
Hard to
More.
believe I made something from nothing. No hindsight discussions. I've been writing, I love it. All this doubt around me, then look, I got it.